Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas to you. I hope that your morning is starting off peaceful. And if it's not, if it's crazy and chaotic, grab a listen to my favorite app. It's called Soul Space. It's fantastic, especially for today. Excuse me while I take my allergy balm here. Merry Christmas to you, Pam. Okay, so I gotta pick this up off the ground here. So I'm in a quiet RV while everybody else is making French toast in the main house, and I wanted to finish telling you the story of what happened to us yesterday at Walmart. So we don't frequent Walmart much, but we specifically went there yesterday with a very intentional purpose. And I wanted to share this with you because our family was inspired to do this. And I hope that you may be inspired to do something like this, either next year at this time or maybe even for the new year, as between now and the new year. So I follow Shalene Johnson. She's an entrepreneur and a marketing guru that I follow occasionally on Instagram. And she was sharing a tradition that her and her family does each year at this time, and it's called 10 envelopes. Anybody have you heard of it before? If you have, tell me, or maybe if you've done this before, tell me. I'd love to hear about it. So the concept of 10 envelopes is that everyone in your family or your immediate family or whoever you're with during this season, if it's just yourself, you can do that as well. Oh, sorry, I'm getting these notifications. Let me fix that. Okay. They get, each person writes 10 letters. Now, our kids are younger, so we actually just did 10, all of us, but we wrote 10 letters to strangers. And just to kind of give you an example, I wrote, I don't know you and you don't know me, but I felt led to give this to you. And I hope that you feel God's love wrapped around you in this season. And Merry Christmas to you. It was a simple, we actually did them on Christmas cards, but you could just do a letter in an envelope. The point is to really give love to another person, expecting nothing in return. And her family put a lot of money, some money into the envelopes as well, but that's not the point of the whole thing. I mean, you could put no money or $1 in there. We decided to put a little money in the envelope as well. But so each one in our family, we wrote 2 letters each, and then we set out to go to Walmart with the specific intention of keeping our eyes open and our ears open and listening to who we were to give these envelopes to. And what ended up transpiring was the most beautiful experience I've ever had in a shopping trip. Now, Shalene was sharing that her family, they've done this every year for a while. So this year, her family that lives in California, they went specifically to a couple of restaurants, and they went to, so they gave an envelope to a nurse at who was standing outside of a hospital. They gave one to a restaurant employee who was mopping the floor. They gave one to an Uber driver. So they did some different things. But in the past, they've also gone to Walmart or something. And so what transpired was, number one, we noticed that as the man, I gave him the envelope, one of the men that I gave the envelope to, you could see, even though I couldn't really see his face very well because he had a mask on, I could see in his eyes that he didn't really know, he didn't understand why I would be giving him something. And I just said, Merry Christmas, and handed the envelope to him. And he looked at the envelope, and he looked at me, and he looked at the envelope again, and then he looked at all of us, and then he looked at the envelope again. And it was like he didn't know what to think. Merry Christmas to you, Darlene. And so and to the woman who was driving the cart around to grab her things in Walmart, and just looked a little gloomy that day, and to see her eyes light up as one of our boys gave her a card and said Merry Christmas. And of course, none of them knew that there was also a little money in there, and it wasn't something that is going to change their lives. But it was the thought that you are seen and you are loved, and you know, there's really a lot of lack of engagement right now among strangers, right? Wouldn't you agree? And so the beauty of seeing those faces and light up from something that was unexpected. And then also, we had no idea that we would be blessed in return in even a financial way. So there was one man who passed us on the aisle, and he said hello to us or something, and he went on, and then a few minutes later, Jim said, I'm going to go track that man down. I think I need to go give him an envelope. And so Jim leaves, and he comes back, and we continue on, and probably 2 or 3 aisles later, the man comes back, and he says, Jim. And he knew Jim's name because Jim had signed the card, so he'd obviously opened the card and read it. And so he said, Jim. And he said, thank you so much for doing this. And I'm not telling you guys this to brag or boast about anything. This is not to give accolades to us in any way. I want this to be as inspiring to you to do as much as it was to us. Merry Christmas, Jen. Merry Christmas, Nancy. And so he came back to us and he said, thank you so much for doing this. And I believe so much in what you're doing. He said, I don't want this to sound rude, but I feel like I just need to give this back to you. Please give this to someone else. And we said, no, we want you to keep this. And if you feel like you should not be keeping it, then we want you to also do the same thing. We want you to find someone that needs this card and give that to them. And so he said he would do that. And he continued talking and telling us about the area that he lives in. He's a retired coach and principal, and he lives in this area, and he thought we lived in the area too, and we said no. And when we told him about that we traveled full time and that we do a ministry as we're traveling and things like that, he was so touched by that he insisted on us taking money from him. And we thought, what in the world is happening here? This was not our intention. But it was so, he wanted to do that. And so we graciously thanked him. And then we ended up leaving the store, and we go out into the parking lot, and our Asher has one envelope left. We have one envelope left to give someone. Merry Christmas to you, Deborah. So if you're just joining, and you'll have to back up because I'm telling you about how to do this 10 envelopes. I hope you'll be inspired to do this, as I was inspired by Shalene Johnson. So we're going out in the parking lot, and Asher still has one envelope to give, and so we're looking in the parking lot, just asking God, show us who needs this. And we're getting in the car, and I kind of see a man, and I'm thinking, oh, this must be who Asher needs to give it to. But no, he saw another woman who was trying to find her car, and seemed a little scattered trying to find her car, and Asher gave it to her. And she was this sweet lady. Spanish was probably her native language, and she was telling us about her grandkids and how she was not able to be with them this Christmas, and she was really sad about that, and so having a child give that to her just touched her heart, and she was so sweet. And she was telling us about she said that because she couldn't be with her grandkids this season, she asked Jim if it would be okay if she gave Asher some money for Christmas. Again, she has not opened her envelope yet at all. She doesn't even know what's inside, but she asks if she can give Asher a $5 for Christmas. And so Jim said, yes, that would be okay. And about the same time, Noah rolls his window down, because the other boys had already gotten in the truck, rolls his window down, and she says, oh, you have more kids. Come. And so the other boys come out, and she insisted on giving them each $5. And we continue to talk to her a little bit more, and she graciously let us pray together over her, and it was such a blessing. It was like the best Walmart trip I've ever had in my entire life, just because we went there with 10 envelopes and a purpose and a mission in mind. And it's not about the dollar or the 50 cents that's inside or even if it was $300 that's in an envelope, it was the words that mattered, and the fact that we were intentionally connecting with a stranger and sharing the love of Jesus. Yes, her name was Big Mama. She called herself Big Mama, which was I loved it. Yes, that's right, Jim. Jim told us, as we went into the store, he said, you know what? If we don't see anybody to give envelopes to, or that we feel like we need to give envelopes to, for the whole time we're in there, it may be the last person we see as we leave. And sure enough, Big Mama was the last person that we saw before we got in the truck and drove away. And so it was just a special time. And so if you get an opportunity to maybe do this next Christmas, since this is already Christmas, or you could even do it today. You could even be inspired to do it today. I don't know what kinds of stores or places would be open necessarily for you to find people, but or maybe you could even do it as approaching the new year and telling people Happy New Year into this. But so again, it's called 10 envelopes. I've always said kindness is contagious. So if we can do something like this, do the hashtag 10 envelopes so that it can encourage somebody else to do the same thing. And I think this is going to be a new tradition in our family of doing that every year, because it was such, it was a time that we could specifically get our minds off of ourselves, right? And intentionally think of other people, and not only think of other people, but just a complete stranger, and not knowing who you're going to give this to. And literally my card, my 2 cards said something along the lines of, hello, I don't know you and you don't know me, and this may seem strange that I'm giving you this envelope, but I knew that God told me I needed to give this to you, and I hope that it is an encouragement to you, and that you are surrounded by God's peace, this season. And so, anyway, I was inspired by Shalene. Thank you, Shalene. And she says that this was not even something that her family made up either. She heard it from someone else. So if you have done this before or know somebody who's done 10 envelopes, tell me. I'd love to hear about it. But I'm in the RV alone, so I'm about to. What do you do when you're alone in the kitchen? I'm going to make some Mexican guac. I'm going to make some Mexican guac with some brand new essential oils that I have, a Mexican blend. And what? I can't hear you. I can't. Okay. Okay. He has to get. We have storage under our couch. Anybody else have pantry items under your couch? We have to have storage everywhere when you're in an RV. So he's digging under here to get some maple syrup. So yes, speaking of food, I'm going to be making some Mexican guac. I'm actually doing that over on our 3 Life Essentials page. So if you want to join me over there now or later today to get some inspiration for a Mexican holiday, then you can do that as well. Since we're in Texas, it's very appropriate, right? So Merry Christmas to you, John. Merry Christmas, Kelly. Yes, what an amazing experience we had. And so I hope that you can have the same type of experience that we did. And if you do, tag me. I would love to hear about what transpires in your own family or in your own life by doing this 10 envelopes. I challenge you to do that. Take this 10 envelope challenge and share some love with a stranger. Yes. Okay. Bye.